Praise the Lord, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to our Bible study where we see. So far we have seen Jacob going to Padanaram to Laban, Jacob serving 14 years, getting married to both his wives. And all this is happening not because Jacob wanted to deceive anybody. In the previous chapters, we have seen he was simply obeying his parents. In the first chapter, he obeyed his mother, where it is perceived that he deceived his brother. After that, we have seen his parents asking him to go to Laban and get married to a girl from his mother's family. So that's the command that he has got from his parents. He traveled all this long and then he started living with Laban because at certain point Laban made a request to Jacob saying that because of you God is blessing me, so please stay back with us. You tell your wages and we will pay your wages, right? And as a wage he served 7 years. He got married to Leah. He again served another 7 years. He married Rachel, and then Laban also gave uh, female slaves to both his daughters. And then we have seen number of children being born to both the daughters, and so on, right? And just yesterday I was having a conversation with Simon, right? Leah, I felt, has not got the due recognition that she is supposed to have. And the reason is in chapter 31, right? But at this point of time, we can all realize that the line of Jesus has come from Leah. So everything, whatever we have read so far, is happening because it was God's plan. Though men, men of God, in fact, also try to do their own will. They tried to implement their own thoughts or their own actions, justifying it to be correct. But yet, God intervened in the time of Isaac, in the time of Abraham, now in the time of Jacob. And whatever is happening because it is of God's will. So let's start chapter 31 and let's see what's in it for us. Now, Jacob, is my voice audible? Am I audible?
No, Sunbo.
Jacob heard that the sons of Laban were saying. So previous chapter lo మనం ఏం చూసినామంటే, so finally after the birth of Dinah, so Jacob goes to Laban, says ki now is the time that I should return to my father. And Laban కి Jacob కి మధ్యలో ఒక ఒప్పందం అవుతుంది. ఏంటిది అంటే, so they separate all the flocks that are there. అండ్ ఆ టైంలో జనరల్ గా ఏంటంటే షీప్స్ లో మీరు ఇప్పటి వరకు చూసినట్లయితే సింగిల్ కలర్ అనేది కామన్, రైట్? ఇఫ్ యూ సీ షీప్స్ ఎస్పెషల్లీ, సో షీప్స్ ఎయిదర్ దే విల్ బి వైట్, ఎయిదర్ దే విల్ బి బ్లాక్. స్పాటెడ్ షీప్స్ ని చూడడం, స్పెకల్డ్ షీప్స్ ని చూడడం చాలా రేర్. డూ యూ ఆల్ అగ్రీ విత్ మీ? ఎనీబడి
Bro.
సీయింగ్ speckled sheep? Or anybody remembers seeing a spotted sheep?
Chala rare.
Chana rare. So most of the times గొర్రెలు మాత్రం సింగిల్ కలర్ తోటి ఉంటది. సో మామకి అల్లునికి ఆయన ఒప్పందం ఏంటిది అంటే సేమ్ కలర్, అంటే ఎటువంటి ప్యాచెస్ లేకుండా ఉంటే, ఎందుకంటే మార్కెట్ లో డిమాండ్ కూడా దానికే ఎక్కువ అన్నట్టు. సో ఒకవేళ స్పాటెడ్ లేక స్పెకల్డ్ లేకపోతే అది లబాన్ది. స్పెకల్డ్ స్పాటెడ్ షీప్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో దేనికి మార్కెట్ లో కూడా వాల్యూ లేదో అటువంటి షీప్స్ కి మాత్రం అటువంటి షీప్స్ మాత్రం జేకబ్ కి చెందుతాయి అనేది ఒప్పందం జరిగింది ఇద్దరికి. And those sheeps will be the wage of Jacob. So this is what is the agreement that happened between both Jacob and Laban. So now what is happening is, now Jacob heard that the sons of Laban were saying, Jacob has taken all that was our father's, and from what was our father's, he has gained all his wealth. Why? In the previous chapter, we have seen Jacob doing planting almond plants, almond branches, and couple of other plant branches at the riverfront, where he was trying to increase his numbers, but yet something else has happened, which we will see in this chapter, right? And Jacob saw that Laban did not regard him with favor as before. If anybody can read Genesis chapter 30, verse 27, because this will remind us of what was their relation before this and what is it now. Genesis chapter 30, verse 27.
But Laban said to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you.
So what Laban is saying, he is requesting Jacob to please stay back because Laban is testifying that because of you, in my divination, in my understanding, in my wisdom, I have realized that God is blessing me because of you. So he is requesting. అంతే కదక్క మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి చదవండి.
But Laban said to him, if I have found favor in
If
your
I
eyes,
have found favor in your eyes,
please stay.
ఒకవేళ నా పట్ల దయ ఉంటే ప్లీజ్ స్టే బ్యాక్.
I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you.
So God has blessed me because of you.
Hmm.
Right. So this was the relation. Imagine somebody else saying this statement to us and asking us to stay back. Obviously, we'll have that compassion, we'll have that kindness, and we'll definitely try to stay back as much as possible. But now the situations are different. Now the sons are blaming Jacob, saying that whatever our father had, Jacob has taken all that was our father's. From what was our father's, he has gained all his wealth. Whatever Jacob is having because of our father. Fair enough. Sons making that blame is still okay. Now, what Jacob saw that Laban also did not regard him with favor as before. So, the relation that was there between Jacob and Laban is no more. So, what's happening now? Then Lord has commanded Jacob, return to the land of your fathers, to your kindred, and I will be with you. Right? Can we read Genesis chapter 28, verse 15?
I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you.
Right. So this statement in Genesis chapter 28 happened almost all around 20 years back. Right? 14 years he served for both his wives. We will read in this chapter only where Jacob says to Laban, saying that I have served you for 20 years. So, this statement, Genesis chapter 28, verse 15, God is speaking to Jacob almost all 20 years back when he was traveling from Canaan to Padanaram. Right? So, once again, Akka, Genesis chapter 28, verse 15.
I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you.
Praise God. So God is commanding or is assuring Jacob, wherever you go, I will be with you, I will watch over you, and I will bring you back to this land, Canaan, from where your father is, and I'll fulfill all the promises that I have given to your grandfather Abraham and to your father Isaac. Right? And that's what is happening here in verse 3, where the Lord said to Jacob, now again a command, return to the land of your fathers and your kindred, and I will be with you. Right? It is the command of God. Now, what is happening here? So, Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah into the field where his flock was, and said to them, I see that your father does not regard me anymore with favor as he did before. So, I was staying here only because your father was regarding me, he was giving me respect, he was believing in me, he had this trust. But the God of my father has been so does not regard me with favor as he did before, but the God of my father has been with me. So God is with me, and we will read further. Now, one important thing that we need to read here or note here is Jacob is still saying God of my father, exactly the same way he mentioned him up in Genesis chapter 27, verse 20, where Isaac asks him, How come you have come so fast, my son? And how is it that you have found it so quickly? Was the question of Isaac. He answered, Jacob answered, Because the Lord your God granted me success. So Jacob is still in that mindset that it is your God, it is my God of my father. And even when he saw God while he was traveling to Padanaram, it is like, if you do this to me, I will, I promise to give tithe to you, tenth portion of whatever I have to you. So I see that your father does not regard me with favor as he did before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all my strength, yet your father has cheated me and changed my wages, my earnings 10 times in this last time that he was serving Laban, right? So apart from that, what happened with Leah, apart from what happened when he was serving to get Rachel, but yes, can read here that apart from these two instances or the third instance that happened in last chapter, there are n number of times where Laban always tried to exploit the goodness in Jacob, exploit the situation, and changed his wages around 10 times in the last 20 years. But God did not permit him to harm me. Right? That's the promise of God. If we can see, anybody can read Job chapter 1, verse 10. We will see Satan himself wanted to harm Job, but what the Satan is testifying to God. If we can read Job chapter 1, verse 10.
Have you not put a hedge around him and his household and
Yeah. So
everything
have you not put a fence around him and his family and his household, Anna,
he has?
and everything that Job is having? So Satan is testifying to God what God has done to Job, Anna.
You have blessed the work of his hands,
You have blessed the work of his hands,
so that his flocks and herds are spread
so that his flocks and his ears are stretched.
throughout
So
the land.
throughout the
Land.
throughout the land. So I meant to say Satan is testifying to God, though I want to trouble him, though I want to harm him, but is it not you who has put a fence around him and his household and everything that he is having in this land? Right. So this is what we can read here. Though your father wanted to harm me, but God did not permit him to harm me. It's more like a moment of realization, or all this past 20 years coming in front of Jacob on what all he had to go through. So if he said, the spotted shall be your wages, then all the flock bore spotted. And again, next time he came back, Laban came back and said, okay, not spotted, but let's striped. So all the striped will be your wages. then all the flock were striped. So, as if everything that is happening is to bless and fulfill Jacob, but not Laban. Now, I am showing the pictures of speckled, spotted here, though I am showing the pictures of goat because sheep pictures custom dorkadam. And today, if at all there are sheep which are spotted, they are called as Jacob's sheep. The name itself is given to them as Jacob's sheep because it is not, common. Very rarely we see spotted and speckled sheep. So if he said, the spotted shall be your wages, which we can see on the first image, all the flocks were spotted. And if he said, striped shall be in your wages, which the second image, so these are called as striped flock, then all the flocks bore stripe. Thus, God has taken away the livestock of your father and gave it to them, gave them to me. It was not me who has done it, but it was God who has done it. Now, in the breeding season of the flock, this is what is important for all of us to see. In the breeding season of the flock, I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream, right? And we all know God spoke to Abraham, and others many times in dreams. Numbers chapter 12, verse 6. Numbers chapter 12, verse 6.
He said, "Listen to my words. When there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, reveal myself to them in visions, to speak to them in dreams."
Right? So God Himself is testifying here that if at all there is a prophet among you, I will go to him, I'll show myself to him in dreams and visions, and I'll speak to him. So that is what is happening here. In the breeding season of the flock, I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream that the goats that mated with the flock were striped. So only striped goats are mating with the flock. That the goats that mated with the flock were striped, spotted, and mottled. So only those animals which are spotted and striped are only mating, right? The rams, basically ఇంకొక version లో చూసుకుంటే the rams that mated అని ఉంటది. ఇక్కడ the goats that mated అని ఉంది. So the rams that mated with the flock were striped, spotted, and mottled. Mottled is the third type, which I'll show here. These are the mottled, which are very rare. Then the angel of the God said to me in dream. Again, angel of the God, we have read a couple of times. The first time we read angel of the God speaking was when when did we read about angel of God revealing himself or speaking? Angel of the God
With Abraham,
before Abraham.
before Abraham.
I mean, before Abraham is definitely Abraham. And Hagar, I meant to say the angel of the Lord we came across was
Hagar.
when Hagar was trying to run away from Sarah.
Yeah,
Uh, angel of the Lord appeared to Hagar and
yeah.
spoke to Hagar. Right. So, angel of the God said to me in a dream. Now, this is what is important for us. Who is speaking here? Angel of the God is speaking,
Angel of
right?
the Lord.
Right. So, what is angel of the God saying? Jacob, I said, here I am, Lord. And what did the angel of the Lord say? Is lift up your eyes and see all the goats that mate with the flock, all the rams that are mating with the flock are striped, spotted, and mottled. Only these are the rams that are mating. For I have seen, who has seen? Angel of the Lord has seen that Laban is what Laban is doing to you. I am, who is here? Who is speaking here?
Lord, the angel
Angel
of
of the Lord.
Angel.
yeah,
And what angel of the Lord is saying, I am the God of Bethel. Right? What is Bethel again? Genesis chapter 28, verse 10 to 19. Genesis chapter 28, verse 10 to
Okay.
19.
దేవుని ఇల్లు.
అవును. And Genesis chapter 10, verse Genesis chapter 28, verse 10 to 19.
Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. మొత్తం
Yes.
9 verses కదా.
Brother, sister.
When he reached a certain place, he stopped for the night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and lay down to sleep. He had a dream in which he saw a stairway resting on the earth, with its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it.
Who were
They,
ascending and descending? Angels of the
angels
Lord.
of
So angels ikkada. Yes, sister.
There above it stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. I
So
will
who
give
was
you and your
standing there on top of that ladder was the Lord.
Lord.
The
And
Lord.
Lord said, I am the Lord of your father Abraham and Isaac. Yes, sister.
I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east, to
And
the
who is
north
speaking
and
here,
to the
sister?
south.
Lord himself is speaking, right? So
Yes,
Lord, the same Lord who is Lord of Abraham, Lord of Isaac, Lord who has promised everything to Abraham all these years in the previous chapters that we have seen. Yes, sister.
all peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. When Jacob awoke from his sleep, he thought, surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it. He was afraid and said, how awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. Early the next morning, Jacob took the stone he had placed under his head and set it up as a pillar and poured oil on top of it. He called that place Bethel, though the city used to be called Luz.
So Jacob called the place Bethel, but the city was actually called as Luz. The name itself was given by Jacob. Ante kada?
Yes,
And
brother.
what God is saying, I am the same Lord that spoke to you in Bethel. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and made a vow to me and promised to me. Now arise, go out of this land and return to the land of your kindred. So it is the same Lord who spoke in Bethel. Bethel, the meaning of the name is it's the God,
House
house of
of
the
God.
God, right? House of Lord, house
House
of
of God.
is the meaning of Bethel. And the name was given by Jacob himself in that place, though the name of the city was actually Luz, but Jacob has named it as Bethel because he has seen all that vision where God was speaking to him, saying that I am the Lord of your father and I am the Lord of your grandfather Abraham. These are the promises that I have given to Abraham, to Isaac, and now I give it to you. Wherever you go, I am going to be with you, and for sure, I'm going to bring you back. I will protect you, all the promises. So again, the God is saying, lift up your eyes and see Jacob. All the goats that mate with the flock are only striped, spotted, and mottled, nothing else. For I have seen, why am I doing this to you? Because I have seen all that Laban has done to you and the way that he is trying to take advantage of this situation or exploit you or harm you. I am the God of Bethel that you have named it, where you anointed a pillar and made a promise to me and made a vow to me that whatever, if God is with me, if God blesses me, I am going to do this to you. Right? Now arise, go out from this land and return to the land of your family, if you of your likewise kindred. So, angel of the Lord, as we spoke in previous chapters, just to support that, it's the same, right? And in the previous chapters, we have seen that angel of the Lord is none other than our Lord Jesus Christ. Then Rachel and Leah answered and said to me. So, Jacob explained all this to Rachel and Leah. Now, Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, is there any portion or inheritance left to us in our father's house? Is there anything else left in our father's house for us to both the daughters? Are we not regarded by him as foreigners? For he has sold us. Why? He has sold both the daughters for a wage of Jacob. He has sold us, and he has indeed devoured our money. Our money is again Jacob's money, is what they're talking about. All the wealth that God has taken away from our father actually belongs to us and to our children, because this all is because of you, right? So it belongs to us, including Jacob, and to our children. Now then, whatever God has said to you, please do it. So Jacob arose, set his sons and his wives on camels. Laban had gone, sorry, on camels. He drove away all his livestock, all his property that he had gained, the livestock in his possession that he had acquired in Padan Aram, to go to the land of Canaan to his father Isaac. So he finally took that step, and he started with his family, his livestock, and all that he has earned in Padanaram, only with the flocks that he has earned, all those which were spotted, speckled, and mottled. He drove away all his livestock, all his property, to go to land of Canaan to his father Isaac. Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole her father's household gods. Now, this is one of the reason I feel that the importance of Leah is not given to her, the due respect that Leah has to be given, probably not given to her, right? Because though she has been living in with Jacob for all these years, though she has seen and witnessed all the great things that God has done in her father's house through Jacob, still Rachel stole her father's household gods. Still, in the previous chapters, we have seen Rachel selling her husband for roots, mandrake fruits. And mandrake fruits basically are for, in those days, they if you look at a mandrake root, it looks like a human being. So it was believed that this comes from a kind of goddess, and if you eat this, you will bear children. So ఇంకా ఆ నమ్మకాల, ఇంకా ఆ విగ్రహ ఆరాధనల రేషల్ ఉన్నది is what we can see here, right? So Rachel stole her father's household gods, and Jacob tricked Laban, the Aramean or the Syrian, by not telling him that he intended to leave. He fled with all that he had and arose and crossed the river, Euphrates River, and set his face towards the hill country of Gilead. Now, in the map, if we can see, this is where Gilead is. It's almost all at the beginning place of, sorry, Israel, right? Sukkoth, Bethel, right? This is the, it's almost all close to Israel right now, right? This is Dead Sea. Ikkade untadi. Sea of Galilee kuda ikkade untadi. So it is in this place, and this is called as Gilead. Until here, he started his journey, and he almost all reached also. So he fled with all that he had, arose and crossed the Euphrates, sorry, and set his face towards the hill country of Gilead, which is around 482 kilometers from Padanaram. When it was told Laban on the third day, so already Jacob left that place. After 3 days, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. So he took his kinsmen, his brothers, his tribesmen with him, and pursued Jacob for 7 days. Right. So almost all it is around 10 days of journey for Jacob. So 3 days after he left, after 3 days, Laban knew, and Laban actually pursued Jacob for 7 days. So it's almost all a journey of 10 days, and there are many various reasons because now he's traveling with children, he's traveling with flock, he's traveling with camels, he's traveling with all that he has, and he has traveled for around 500 kilometers or 482 kilometers in very precise. When it was told Laban on the third day that Jacob had fled, he took his tribesmen with him and pursued him for 7 days and followed close after him into the hill country of Gilead, where it is almost all at the entrance or near to. So if you can see, this is Sea of Galilee, and this is where is Gilead, this place. But God, so he almost all reached Gilead after 10 days to Laban. But God came to Laban, the Aramean, in a dream by night and said to him, be careful not to say anything to Jacob. So it is not that God is speaking to in dreams to only prophets. Here we can see, and in the previous chapters also we have seen, God has spoken to many others also in dreams, right? The previous king, right? Yeah, Abimelech. So be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Right? It was a clear-cut warning by God to Laban. And Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban with his tribesmen pitched also their tents in the hill country of Gilead. So everybody is meeting here. Time and 9:50. Close it. Next week. సిస్టర్స్ ఇది నెక్స్ట్ వీక్ చూసుకుందాం 25 అంటే ఇంకా 25 ఉంటాయి అందులో ఇంకా 25.
Okay, bro.
So we'll continue this chapter in next week also. But the most important aspect or the most important takeaway for all of us today is again coming back to the Trinity, the discussion, God, Jesus Christ. So the God that Jacob witnessed while he was going to Laban, and the God that is speaking or sorry, bringing Jacob back from Padan Aram to Israel, and the God that spoke and promised all those things to Abraham and his kinsmen is one. So, with this, I thank you for today's session. I will stop here and we will start from verse 26 in the next week. Any questions?
No, bro. Everything okay.
Any questions?
No, brother. Okay.
Anything that you felt I missed, which you want to share? Brothers, sisters, anybody, Simon, Shanti, anything that you felt probably we missed out and